Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Bread for Soul Convos with myself, Sir LSG. I hope you are well. Thank you so much for watching this platform, for watching the show. And this morning we have Ms. Tiani Maluleke, who is the CSO of SAMPRA. I still want to ask her what exactly a CSO is, and she'll explain to us. Welcome to the show, ma'am. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us. We're so glad to be here this chilly morning.
Yes, but at least like we are all working from home, so you could be in your
Yeah, that
PJs there.
helps.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Uh,
That helps.
Before I ask you exactly what Sampra does, I want to ask you about your title at Sampra. Like, what does a CSO do?
Okay, I'm the Chief Stakeholder Officer at SAMPRA. I'm responsible basically for stakeholder relationships, um, marketing, customer services, and now also the SAMPRA Development Fund.
Yes, and you guys have launched it this past Tuesday. When I was looking at a list of things that the fund plans to cover, I got really excited, because especially at a time like this where musicians and a lot of artists don't really have a lot of revenue spaces, like the performance spaces have been shut down for some time, and we don't really know when this thing is going to come back. But I was really excited. We'll talk more about the fund a bit later as we carry on with our conversation. But I want us to unpack, at a very simple level, like to explain what exactly does Sampra do.
Okay, SAMPRA is what you call a CMO. A CMO is a collective management organization. So, what we do as SAMPRA is we collect or administer a music right called needle time rights. It's also called neighboring rights in other parts of the world. So, what that right is, it's the right of the recording artist as well as the record company to get revenue, which we call royalties, whenever the sound recording is played in public. So if you are a recording artist, and what we mean by recording artist is someone who's a vocalist, a session musician, a guitarist, a producer, anyone who made an audible contribution when a song was recorded. Those are what we call our performer members. And obviously, we know what a record label is. So we collect every time their music is played by broadcasters. We only collect from radio. So when radio stations play their songs, if those radio stations are licensed, then we collect and we pay needle time royalties to those people or those organizations.
Yes.
Um, I think people might know that there are other rights in a song, and we only collect for needle time rights. You also find in South Africa that you have an organization like SAMRO who collects for performing rights, and then you have Capaso, they collect for mechanical rights. So yeah. So if someone is a member and applying for membership is easy. If someone wants us to collect on their behalf, they can contact us. I think maybe we can talk about that at a later stage.
Yes.
But I just wanted to give a basic understanding of what we do as an organization. Basically, as a CMO, we collect middle time rights and we pay those royalties to recording artists as well as record companies whenever they are sound recording. It must be commercially released music, so not jingles.
Yes.
Commercially released music, whenever that music is played or by licensed music users, we then pay those royalties to our members.
Yes. And I think also it's important to just make it clear with regards to needle time. The way you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just really testing my 2008
Knowledge.
knowledge from college. But the way I understand needle time is that it's also a right that where musicians, like session musicians, so somebody who's a bassist and playing for someone else's band. So let's say I've got a band and I'm the main member of the band. The band is named after my name, Sir LSG band. And in my band, I've got different players. I'll have a pianist, I'll have a bassist. And when I take these people and record them, and record songs, the songs, even if the songs are my own songs, the songs might be named after me, but they partake in the recording, and they will charge me a session fee. So if a bassist says, okay, I'm normally the rate is like between 1,500 or 2,000 rands, you pay 2,000 rands for the bass player for that one session, they record on the song. But usually before needle time, when it comes to other royalties, whether it's the performance royalties from SAMPRA or mechanicals from Capasso, normally the sessionist would not get anything else, and it would end
That's
where
correct.
it would only end where they get the session fee, that 2,000 rands, that 1.5 during the recording day, and after that, that's it for them. So needle time um, gives like royalties to people like that, people who are sessionists as well, besides the main person of the song. Sessionists do now get royalties from songs they partake they took part in, if I'm correct.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, that's correct. And that's simply because of how the right is structured. So you will remember with Samro and Capasso, they represent composers and publishers. So Samro would pay the composer or the lyricist or the author of a musical work. Capasso would also do the same, and they will also then also pay the publisher of the musical work, and Capasso would do the same. So the right that we represent on behalf of recording artists, including sessionists. But as you correctly put it, if you are a session musician, then you would get needle time rights royalties from us. So yeah, there is a royalty stream for sessionists as well,
Yes.
in the form of needle time rights. But in terms of a band, right? A band, people that are permanent members of a band, we don't treat them like sessionists. So, for example, a band like Mafikizolo, they the two members are permanent members of that band.
Yes.
Or a band like Ladysmith Black Mambazo, those members are permanent members of the band. So they would get, when we pay needle time rights, they would share equally in the royalties. So if there's 100 rands and there are 5 members, they would each get 20 rands, just as an example.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, understood. I hope people understand. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on my page or Best Beats or whichever page that we are cross posting from, you can post comments or questions if you don't understand something. But basically that's needle time. It's really an additional, you could call it an additional royalty stream for other people who are not necessarily getting royalties, with other rights from other copyrights, meaning the performance or composers, so if you were, like we explained, if you were part of the band, if you took part in the recording, you will get needle time. That's basically it.
Even if you clapped hands.
Even if you clapped or played the triangle, you played something, you will get. So then,
because you made an audible contribution.
yes.
So even if you clapped hands in the song, or I don't know, maybe there's someone that wanted you to make a unique, funny sound in the song, you also qualify for needle time rights, as long as you made a sound
Yes.
in the song, you qualify for needle time rights. And I
Yes.
think the other thing that is good to note is that if you are a singer and you are also a songwriter, it means now you have multiple streams of royalty revenue. You will earn royalties from us as SAMPRA, being needle time rights. You still earn from SAMRO, being performing rights. You'll still earn from Capasso, being um, mechanical rights.
Mm.
But also if your music is being played, like you have a music video and it's being played, you can also apply for membership from RISA, and you'll get the AV royalties from RISA. So I mean there are quite a number of revenue streams that singer-songwriters can exploit to just widen their income streams.
Yes, yes, and I think it's important to note all of this, because most of the time you we would only focus on performance royalties, and not necessarily focusing on knowing that there are other streams of income to make from that one song that we make, from that one song that would be playing on TV or on radio. You can really maximize the amount of income that you get as an artist, and it's important for us to keep ourselves clued up about these kind of things, so to know that, okay, in one song, how many rights are there and what rights are available to whom, and stuff like that. So I do have to ask you though, um, this needle time, where does the money come from? Because, like, yes, we know if it plays on radio, that radio station, is it that those radio stations used to pay performance royalties to Sambro, and then artists would composers would then get their shares from there. But does this mean radio stations are paying an additional fee that they never used to pay with regards to needle time?
Yes, remember, SAMPRA is 10 years old. Uh,
Oh.
just over 10 years. I mean, it was established in 2017. So, music users have been paying, or ought to have been paying, since the establishment of SAMPRA. So we collect, as SAMPRA, we collect from radio stations as well as retailers. So if you are a music user, like a radio station, you would pay SAMPRA for needle time rights to use the sound recordings, so that the recording artists can benefit from the exploitation of their music. You'd also pay SAMRO their performing rights license, and you'd also pay Capasso for obviously making the copy of the music, and you'd also pay RISA AV for music videos,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So as a music user, I mean, if you're a retailer, you're not using music videos, for example.
Yes.
But if you are a broadcaster and you have radio stations and TV, you would pay all for organization those licensing fees.
Yes.
So yes, the money is collected from music users, and they pay the license because they're exploiting copyright,
Yeah.
and the owners of the songs need to be compensated fairly.
Yes. And what about nightclubs though? Because the nightclub thing, I don't remember nightclubs taking any cue sheets from me when I'm playing, as a DJ. Are they liable to be paying needle time
Yes.
licenses as nightclubs?
Yeah. Basically, every music user, if you're using music in your business, whether you are controversially a taxi owner or taxi driver, if you're playing music in your taxi, by law, you should be paying for the use of that musical work as well as the sound recording. You should be paying. Even nightclubs should be paying. Even you as a DJ should be paying for exploiting other people's copyright.
Eh, I didn't even know about this. I think we need to get into this. So wait first. So you're saying as a DJ, if I'm buying music and I use that music at my gigs and I get paid, I should be paying some kind of license fee.
That's correct. Because remember, even the broadcaster is buying that music. Um, Even the retailer is buying that music and using it. So as a DJ, remember, as a DJ, your set won't only contain your own music.
Yes.
Even if you are like a big DJ, you won't be playing only your music. You're playing a variety of music, and that music contains music written by other people, so composed by other people. It contains music that has been recorded by other people. So those people whose music you are using should be getting royalties. So yes, we do license DJs as well for the use of other people's copyright.
Yes.
So
And
yes, you owe people you owe people a lot of money.
so tell me, I mean, I know there are some other DJs who play quite more than I do, you know. So I'll have comfort that at least I owe something, but not as much as other guys do. But tell me, how is that then being regulated? You know, I want to ask you because I can imagine that the regulation of this is not an easy thing to do. How do you regulate the music users? Because probably the radio stations it's easier, the music, the retailers could be easier too, but in terms of individuals like DJs, how is that regulated?
Okay, the regulations are already there. Perhaps so you want us to talk about enforcement.
Yes.
In terms of enforcement, we have tried as CMOs not to take people to court, but in the next few months, you'll probably see us going to court with certain individuals and or companies because they have not been paying their license fees, despite our persistence and negotiating with them to pay. The challenge is always that litigation is an expensive exercise, so we use it as a measure of last resort. But we also understand that we have been entrusted by our members to protect their interests. Playing music without a license is theft. People are breaking the law, you know, so we have to at some point take the legal route to ensure that people pay for the use or for the exploitation of other people's copyright assets. Because if you are using music, you are deriving value. So, for example, if you're a DJ, you're playing other people's music, you're getting paid, you know, for the work, but the person whose music you're using is not getting anything for the use of their music. Whether you're a broadcaster, I mean, the same rules apply. I know sometimes you get the argument that, but we're also promoting your music. If we're playing your music, we're also promoting your music. But that is simply not true, because if that was the case, we would all work for free because most were promoting the organizations and the companies where we work. They're promoting our skills, they're promoting our talent. We are at work to showcase what we can do. The people who make a contribution to a sound recording are the people that write music. That is their work. They need to be compensated. So we cannot exploit people in the name of promotion. That is very unfair, especially when as the users of music, we derive economic value, you know, from the use of that product. So yeah, I mean, we are going to take enforcement to the next level, which is the legal route.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, like, so let me get. Are you? Let me just not even ask about making arrests and stuff like that. But I wanna understand then, how can DJs be licensed, if I may put it that way, with SAMPRA? As a DJ, can I then apply for a license as a music user, or how
Yes.
does it work?
Yes. So you can contact our licensing department um, at licensing@sampra.org.za. The annual license fee for DJs is 2,000 rands,
Mm,
or just about there. So you pay 2,000 rands. You give us your playlist. We ensure that the people whose music appears on your playlist are paid what is due to them.
are they getting paid from the 2,000 rands?
Yes, so yeah, I mean, if you're a DJ and that's the fee, that's what the people appearing on the playlist must share in that amount. But hopefully, obviously, you hope that DJ the royalties are made up of the license fee paid by DJ one, DJ two,
Mm,
DJ three, and so there is an accumulation
mm.
and real value to the recording artist.
Okay, no, I understand. I understand. I
So
think,
if all DJs pay,
yeah,
the royalty amount is substantial.
yeah. But also, isn't it rather um, inconsistent to ask DJs or to have a fee of 2,000 rands as a flat rate, where some DJs are playing once a month, another DJ is playing literally every 4 times a week, and but still using more music than the other one, but the license fee is the same.
Yeah, the challenge there became on the administration of it would be an administrative nightmare, especially because we don't have mechanisms in place that track how many gigs DJ A has compared to DJ Z, for example,
Mm,
So that's why now I think across all the CMOs, the license fee is standard
okay, no, that makes
because
sense.
now it means we must take all the money that we've collected and spend it on administration,
Mm,
which is not ideal. We'd like to ensure that the maximum benefit is derived by the recording artist and not spent on administration fees.
mm, mm. Okay, no, that makes sense. I think, let's get into people who should be registering, who should become members of SAMPRA. Who are those people? Like, who should actually be registering with SAMPRA as a member?
Okay. Anyone who is recording artist. So if you are a singer, if you're a backing vocalist, if you are an instrumentalist, if you are a producer, you should be applying for SAMPRA membership. If you own a record company, your record company should be a member of SAMPRA.
Okay.
So, yeah, those are basically the groups that should be members of SAMPRA. Those are the two groups that we represent, recording artists as well as record companies.
Okay. I want to lean more towards the artist side of things. So, singers,
Okay.
songwriters, and so forth. All the musicians who would partake in a recording. So once they've registered with SAMPRA, and guys, it's quite simple. You do it online. We will share the details towards the end of the show, but it's fairly simple. Once I've registered on SAMPRA, what then takes place? Does everyone, let's say there's a song and 5 people contributed in the recording of this song, does every person, every each of those people notify you of the works, or how does it work, or just
Yeah.
one person does it and includes all of them?
Okay. Um, To register as a member is simple. You simply apply for membership and you become a member of SAMPRA. For you to register your music, so once you are a member, you also then fill in notification forms. It's also, and we also have an online option, and we also have the SAMPRA app where you can do that. So if there are 5 people, so for example, I was a guitarist in a song that you were singing in, you notify yourself as the lead singer. I will also apply for membership and notify the songs where I was an instrumentalist. So ideally, everyone who took part in the song should apply for membership and should notify. So remember, when you notify, you'll also indicate who was part of the sound recording. When I notify as an instrumentalist, I will also indicate. So if there's a relationship between your notification and my notification, it's easier, you know. Ideally, that's what should happen. But sometimes we do have instances where one person notifies on behalf of other people, and then we'll still collect for those people, and we'll still pay their royalties as well.
Yes. No, I think that makes sense. I think then it needs to get to a point where I think big record labels would have certain systems in place and make it easier for their artists to kind of have things in order, especially the paperwork. But because also there's a lot of independent artists who I assume a lot of people who are watching this show are like myself, independent artists. We do a lot of things on our own. So I think it's also good to advise people. My advice would also be like, if you're recording a song, if you've got however many number of people, like I record one song with a lot of different musicians in it, and I would have a sheet for each and every song. So in that sheet, I divide certain royalties accordingly. So I know in terms of publishing, so and so is supposed to get this percentage, this is my percentage, and so forth. And similarly, when it comes to needle time, you need to be really listing everyone who was involved in that recording. And I think it makes it easier when you share that paperwork with all of the artists involved in your recordings, so that everyone, when they go and register or when they go and notify with the different organizations, they notify accordingly. They notify the same thing, because sometimes you would see somebody notifying 50% royalties and the other person notifying 75% for the same song, and it becomes a bit of an issue when it comes to how do people get paid. So I think it's very important for
Yeah.
us, for all of us, really, to keep note and track of what we do. So you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, I think with us in terms of percentage, right? Our percentage are kind of determined by the organization. So for every track that we collect, there's a 50% split between the record company and the artist. So 50% goes to the record company and 50% goes to the artist. And in terms of the split between the artists, um, there there's a portion that goes to the featured performer. The featured performer is the person whose name the track is in, and then you have then other featured performer. So, for example, I have a song. I'm the featured performer. You are also featured in the song. Then you are the other featured performer, and then there are then the other non-featured performers, which are mainly the instrumentalists.
Yes.
So the 50% split is already there, and that was actually done to protect the artists, because there's always this narrative that record companies are always trying to swindle artists. So now we know record companies only get 50%, and then the other 50% belongs to the record companies. But I like your idea of ensuring that at every recording, when you are recording, you have the information um, pertaining to all the recording artists. And I think sometimes, it can be so challenging even to get hold of people. So you come, you notify, you say, these are the people that I worked with, but you don't have their contact details anymore. But I think if you are doing a session and you have everyone's details there, you all agree this was your contribution to the track. This is the instrument that you played. This was my contribution to the track. And you all have that. When you go and notify, you have that information, because sometimes people forget. People work on so many projects that sometimes they simply forget. People coming to notify us in 2020 about recordings that they made in 1997. I mean, they say your memory is not that, that strong that you can remember every project that you have. But if you have the right documentation and you have the information pertaining to the tracks, it really would help you as an artist, but it would also help us as SAMPRA from an administration perspective.
Yes, yes. And I see like a lot of people asking about um, what happens with monies that are collected and are not notified, like for works that's not notified. And I was speaking to Wiseman Ngubo from Kapaso on the show as well, like asking him the similar question. Is it the same with you guys? Like, what happens with that money? So if you've collected money, or music users like radio stations or retailers have paid some money for needle time for songs, and but those some of those songs have not been notified, what then happens with those funds?
Yeah. So just like Capasso, we also do blanket licensing for especially in respect of broadcasters. We collect the money. Remember, we have the playlists as well, because not only do we get playlists from the user, being the broadcaster, we also have our own system which tracks what every broadcaster is using at any given time in real time. So we have the information as well. So when we collect the money, we then do the allocation. Even if the song is not notified, we then allocate the money to the performer, so that when they notify, we pay them that money. If the performer has not notified, and I mean, we have an active team that will literally follow up and look for contact details of those people. If after 5 years we haven't found the performer, the money goes back into distribution and it's distributed. So yeah, this is why we always encourage people to notify, so that they get their money before it goes back into the distribution pool.
Okay. No, for me, I think that makes sense. So it's really important for artists, like, notify everything, guys. Like, don't have songs and songs are out, or you worked on material but you did not notify. Like, notify each and everything. Over notify, if I may put it that way. Even if the song is not playing on radio, because that song might
That's
be
true.
playing on radio 10 years from now, you completely forgot that you took part in that song and you're missing out on that income. Like, every cent counts when it comes to music. Your music is kind of like your retirement annuity. And I want to get into the SAMPRA development fund, because I saw a retirement annuity as one of the points that were listed as to what the fund will cover for SAMPRA members. If you could explain to us, what is that fund, what's happening, how can we get some of that kachin?
Yes. We launched the SAMPRA Development Fund on Tuesday. I think it's the most exciting thing that we have ever done as an organization, bringing real benefit to the lives of artists, impacting the lives of artists in the way in which the SAMPRA Development Fund is going to do. So the SAMPRA Development Fund is the CSI leg of SAMPRA. So it's a separate entity which was formed to do CSI on behalf of our members. One of the things that the fund will be doing, as you mentioned, is retirement annuity. So if you are a SAMPRA member and you get to retirement age, you will then qualify to get retirement annuity. Members don't have to make any contribution to the fund. SAMPRA will be paying the premiums on their behalf, so that when they get to retirement age, they can get their annuity. I think that is quite impactful, in that even in retirement, you will still be getting a benefit in addition to the royalties.
Yes.
We'll also be doing, the fund is also going to be giving members funeral benefits. So if you as a member, or your spouse, or your children under the age of 18 pass away, your family will get financial assistance from the fund to help with funeral arrangements.
I
We'll
think
also
if you could hold on there, because I want to get a bit into the retirement annuity thing. How does it work? Like, so does each and every member, if you are a member of SAMPRA, does it do you automatically get that RA set up for you, that when you retire you will get some money from that, or how does it actually work?
Yes, if you are a member and you've earned at least 500 rands in royalties, you qualify. So that's the majority of our members. So when you get to retirement age, yes, you will get an annuity for being a member.
And
So we will make the contributions on your behalf.
and that those contributions, is it the same contributions for everyone, or is it dependent on the usage of the music for certain artists?
Yes, in terms of the annuity that the member receives, it does depend on earnings.
Okay.
It depends on earnings. So the higher you earn, the higher your annuity.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah. And let's get on to the other stuff then, that the fund brings.
Okay, I spoke about funeral benefits. The third thing that the fund will be doing is education and training. So we've partnered with a number of institutions of higher learning, who will be providing our members who would like to study the business of music. There are a number of programs at their institutions that are aligned to what we would also want our members to know. So if you want to know, for example, how the business of music works, what is publishing, what to look out for when you looking at contracts, so it will be quite business oriented. But you'll also be exposed, if you get a bursary to study at one of these institutions, you will also be exposed to things like sound engineering and the academic side and the business side of music. So we encourage our members to apply if they would like to study. There are a number of options. We have diplomas, we have 3-month courses, we have master classes. So there are a number of options that are available, and members can choose the ones that they want to apply for. They must meet the minimum requirements that the institutions have set up. and then they apply for a bursary from the fund, and we will then assist them with in full for and the amount that we'll contribute will cover the tuition fees at the institutions.
Mm.
So I mean that's great. Musicians are business people, and we want to equip them and empower them to ensure that they run their businesses successfully and they know what to look out for, especially when it comes to contracts, because we know there are a number of people that have signed contracts that were somehow dicey, So would like to ensure that they get the requisite skills that are needed for them to thrive in the business. And then the next thing, or the fourth thing that the fund will be doing, the fund will also be assisting recording artists with their um, music recording fees. So, when you go to record, you need to pay for the studio, you need to pay session musicians. In this respect, we'll also be assisting independent small record companies, because some of them also don't have the funds to um, put out a full album, or even a single, because of the fees that are associated with recording. So we'll be assisting in full or in part with production costs. So I don't know if people are still pressing, but if you need to press a CD, or you need to put music out to an aggregator, or you need to pay for any costs that are regarded as production costs, even things like doing artwork for your for your album. Basically, any production cost, you can apply to the fund, and if your application is approved, we'll be then apportioning an amount to help with it. The next thing that the fund will also be assisting with is assisting artists who would like to travel locally and abroad. So let's say you have a tour, or you've got gigs out of the country, we'll be assisting with covering some of those expenses, because people sometimes get invitations to go and perform overseas, but obviously they're limited by the costs. Even something as simple as applying for visas, that costs money. So we'll be assisting with that, those travel costs for local and international travel. One of our strategic objectives as an organization is the promotion of SA music locally and abroad. So we felt that this would be a way in which we would be able to contribute meaningfully in this aspect. So that's what the fund will also be doing. We'll also be assisting with sponsorships. So maybe someone wants to do a music workshop, they want to do music awards. So this is also open to companies in the industry. So if you're doing a music conference, you're doing a workshop, you can apply to the fund to get assistance in terms of sponsorship. So you don't have to be a SAMPRA member, but if you are in the business that is related to what we do, you can apply for sponsorship. And if your application is approved, we'll be able to then partner with you and assist you financially with sponsorship.
Yeah.
So I think I've covered everything, right?
Yeah, you covered everything. Funeral benefit. You covered all of the seven aspects, and I think.
Oh, yes. No, I forgot one thing. We'll also be doing internships. So
Oh
for
yes.
people, yeah, we'll also be doing internships. So people that go and study, or people that already have qualifications, but they want exposure to the music industry, we are going to offer people internships where they can go to record companies and see what happens at record companies. They can get on, they can get on the job training at those institutions if they want to learn what we do as administrators. They can. So we'll have a rotation where people go through different aspects, and go through to different institutions to get on the job training, to see what happens when you're talking about, for example, sound engineering, what happens there. When you talk about music administration in terms of, for example, at a CMO, what happens there? What happens at a record company? What happens when you, in terms of event planning? So you also get exposure. So we'll have a 6-month internship program in place, which will also then support the academic programs that will also be exposing our members to. So yeah, that's what the fund will be doing. We are so excited as an organization to be bringing this to our members, and we hope that it is well received by our members, and that they see the value that the fund aims to give to them.
Yeah, like it's such a so many things that you guys have done, that you guys are planning to do as well with this fund. I think it's such needed things, for the industry at large. I do have to ask you though, because I can assume you probably since Tuesday have been getting an influx of these kind of, whether it's inquiries and how to do stuff, like how to apply. I want to know, like, though, how are you guys managing, like all of the influx of applications that you guys will be receiving for this fund? Like how quick,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm more interested with the turnaround times, from application to actually being accepted and the fund taking place.
yeah, I mean, the fund will be active from the 1st of August, so like next week.
Oh, September, you mean?
um, yeah, um, the 1st of September.
Yes.
Sorry, the 1st of September, the fund will start taking applications. We have a team. We have a team that will be going through all the applications, that will be assisting with information for people that need information. So the team has been set up, to assist with turnaround times. We also have the SAMPRA Development Fund Board that will be doing the actual assessment in terms of the selection criteria, who qualifies, who meets the requirements. And we have the fund rules, which are basically the Bible or the guidelines that will guide us in selecting the beneficiaries of the different programs. So I mean, we have a full team. We are ready. So the turnaround times will be quite fast.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Just one last question that I do have to ask: where do you guys get so much money?
We actually don't have a lot of money. I think the thing that we have done well as an organization is just minimizing our costs. We run the organization from an administrative perspective, with as much minimal impact as far as cost is concerned. We're running the organization as efficiently as possible. The other thing is we are regulated. We are the only CMO in the country that is regulated. Remember, performing rights and mechanical rights, they are not regulated as yet. So in terms of the regulations imposed on us, our administration fees cannot go above 20%. So we try to play way below the 20% fee so that whatever we collect, the majority of what we collect goes back to our members, because we understand that that is what we are supposed to be achieving. We're not supposed to be taking performers or recording artists' money and spending it on administration. So the money really comes from our efficiencies.
Yes, but I was
Yeah.
asking specifically with the money for the fund. Like, where does the money for the fund come from?
I mean, we collect from users of music.
Oh, okay,
Um, so
okay,
the money comes from users of music.
okay, okay.
So it's really the license fees. There's
Yes.
no other source of income for
Oh,
any CMO except from the users of music.
oh, okay. No, like,
Our only source of revenue is users of music.
I thought you guys were getting like some billions from somewhere that just injected this money into the organization for you guys
No,
to be able to
no,
do
no,
that.
no, no, no. Remember, we don't get any funding from government. We only get money from users of music.
Yes. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you guys are truly efficient with your money. Like the government could learn a thing or two from the way you guys spend money. But I want to say, well, firstly, thank you for taking this time, and sharing this knowledge with us on this platform. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and one person, just to, I think we could close it like this. Kabelo Hosia says, "Let's go to school, let's go and learn, and stop this thing of blaming record companies when things don't go right, or blaming anyone. If you're a musician, this is the time, actually, not necessarily only for the fun, but the current times that we are in with the digital time, and where an artist could literally upload their music on their own accord. You don't need the label to be doing anything for you. You can do your own promotion on social media. You can create your own podcast. You can really grow your own following. The onus is really upon you. No one is stopping you. No one is blocking you from the industry. The industry is on your phone. You know what I mean, if I may put it like that. So let's take time to learn as much as we possibly can, and let's take those steps to ensure that we squeeze the buck, like we squeeze everything that we can get from that one song, all of the copyrights, learn about all of the copyrights, and make it a thing, and make it be that efficient. Every song has to have its own paper, copyrights, needle time, musicians that are recording on that song, and everything else that's associated with that song. I think we can stop it here. I just want to share information about SAMPRA, where you guys can get, it's right there in the screen. It's the email that you can send to info@sampra.org.za, and the phone number 011-561-9660. The website is there. Physical address is there too. I just don't know, Diani, are you guys open? Because I know you're working from home, but is the office open?
No, we're not doing face-to-face consultations now. Yeah, we'll wait until it's safe to do so. But yeah, like you said, people can get hold of us. The best way to get hold of us is just to download the SAMPRA app, apply for membership on the app. If you're already a member, notify us of your tracks via the app. Also, you can use you can also apply on the website. You can also use the email address that you gave to members. The SAMPRA Development Fund website is also up. So if people want to get more information on the SAMPRA Development Fund, they can go to samprafund.co.za.
And that's already running right now, samprafund.co.za.
It's up. Yeah, it's up.
Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, thank you so much, and thank you for those who are watching. I hope you guys learned a lot. Please tag somebody who might learn as well, who needs to learn from the conversation. Share the video so more people can see it. Otherwise, let's remember to stay creative. Peace.